Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another beer review. Hope you're well. It's Saturday. It's been a scorcher, hasn't it? I don't know about anyone else, but it's been kind of overcast, but it's been so warm. Me and the missus went out. It was like went out about, what time did we get out? About 10:30, 11, something like that. It was like 25, 26 in the car. As we got going, it just got hotter. We went to IKEA, had a stroll around and come out. When we got in the car again, it was like 32 degrees. It's just too muggy and warm. Too muggy and warm. So, not that you need to know that. You don't need to know that. But you know I like a bit of waffling before we get going. Anyway, right. Beer review time. We are back with another one. And this was a beer that I picked up in Morrison's. Tell a lie. Was it? No, Asda. Picked this, or was it Morrison? I can't bloody remember, you know. Morrison's or Asda? Asda it was. Certainly it was Asda. In Shrewsbury. And it's one that I picked up because I saw Northern Southerner, John from Northern Southerner Beer Reviews review this. And it's a beer from Timothy Taylor's. And it's the first one I've seen in a can from them. It may well be their first canned beer. I think it is. And what we are looking at is their Hopical Storm Pale Ale. It's in a 440ml can, coming in at 4%. It's a pale ale, striking triple hopped pale ale. I think it was £3.25. I think it was £3.25. It may well have even been £3.50, £3.75. I don't know. Pretty certain £3.25. I ain't very good, am I? Not very good. So yeah, I was hoping it was a 4 for 3, but as it happens, this one wasn't 4 for 3. And actually, I think it was Morrison's I got this from. I don't know. But anyway, nice artwork, looks good. Timothy Taylor's, traditional sort of beer. You would look at this and expect it to be a little bit on the craft side. But I believe JB said it has more of a traditional feel to it. So I think whacking it in a can is a bit sort of more modern and it attracts people's eyes, but maybe the beer is still going to just sort of stay sort of old school and traditional. I don't know. But it is a striking can. It does catch your eye. And it's probably more likely to catch your eye than sort of like a typical brown bottle with Timothy Taylor's on. That looks a little bit sort of older generation, if you like. So, there was a little bit left in the can. We've got it in a Sharps glass, Atlantic Pale Ale glass. I don't use it very often, but I thought I'd get it out for this one. So as you can see, look at the carbonation. It's a nucleated bottom in this. It is fizzing away with bubbles. It's got a slightest of hazinesses in this beer. It's sort of golden looking, golden straw colour. Lots of bubbles going up. We got about a 3 finger of compact head at the bottom. It's quite sort of spacious at the top. So it's looking like a typical sort of pale ale. Let's go in with the nose and see what we get. The way the carbonation's going, I'm waiting for the head to be about that big. Yeah, it's got sort of fruity, sort of citrus notes. But it has got very much a sort of traditional sort of aroma to it. It's the sort of, it smells like an old school sort of beer, really, a traditional sort of pale ale. A little bit fruity, hoppy, malty. There's a little bit of a, maybe a sort of a brown bread sort of thing going on in there, maybe. Brown bread? No. White crust, I would say. White crust. Anyway, smells quite nice. A little bit of a sweet note on the nose as well. So let's dive in. Timothy Taylor's Hopical Storm Pale Ale, 4%. Cheers. Yeah. I mean, I would say old school sort of thing all day long. But I think what it's just got that little bit of extra sort of hoppy feel in there and that little bit more oomph in the sort of hop sort of flavours, if you like, and I think that's about the only difference. But again, we'll come to that like I always do. We'll give her a little bit of a topper-rooney. Get the rest of the can in there. Hasn't changed at all, as you can see. .4% pale ale. I think for the style of the beer, for the ABV, it's got a pretty decent body. It's not heavy, it's not going to weigh you down, but there is a little bit of sort of thickness to it. Quite well carbonated. It is a little bit rough around the edges in the mouthfeel, because ultimately the body is quite a light sort of body, and with the busyness of the carbonation it does feel a little bit rough around the edges, but it also adds a little bit of character to the beer. Reasonably soft sort of feel to it, if rough around the edges. On the taste, malt, sweet, not overly sweet, there's just that slight sweet maltiness to it. There's almost sort of like a caramel toffee thing going on in there with the maltiness. That's sort of there at the front to start off with. The hops kick in. You get the hops. You get that little bit of bite that the hops gives this beer. It's got some fruity notes. The fruity notes are probably a little bit more pronounced in this beer rather than, say, something like Landlord, if you like, or whatever. You know, where it's got that sort of like fruity sort of citrus hit. It's just a little bit more in this. And that'd be coming from the hops. Triple hopped. Have they put any more hops in this, or more sort of fruity hops in this? I don't know, but it's just a little bit more pronounced. It's very nice indeed. It's traditional stuff, and I think John said in his that if you're a craft beer fanatic, if you're into craft beer and that, this may not suit you, because although it's dressed up very much like a craft beer, it's got that traditional feel to it. But it's a nice drop. It's old school. It's nice. It's got a nice little hoppy bite. I think it's just, they've just ramped up a little bit to give it that edge of a craft beer, but still keeping the traditional feel to it. 4% you don't get. You do get a little bit more bite in it. Yeah, I mean, if you're a little bit old school, you're going to like it. If you're more hardcore craft sort of drinker, it might not be up your street. But I think overall the beer is a nice enough beer. It's a well brewed beer. £3.25. Like I say, I think it was £3.25. Is it overpriced? Well, I think if they're banging Landlord out, which is 4.1%, in a 500ml bottle, and I'm certain you can pick that up as part of a 4 for 3 or something for £6, so you can pay about £1.50 for that. It does seem it's sort of aimed at making a bit more money by putting it in a fancy can. So I'll leave it up to you whether you think it's worth the money. It is a nice drop though. More old school, like I say. There you go. There's my thoughts on this beer. Waffled on for way too long. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you've had the beer before, let me know what you think. Feel free to comment. Feel free to like, share the video, subscribe. I'm on Facebook, All the Beer No Idea. YouTube, All the Beer No Idea. Twitter, All the Beer No Idea. TikTok, All the Beer No Idea. Instagram, All the Beer No Idea. I'm everywhere. I'm like fucking dog shit. Cheers.